Hello, everybody. Thank you for finally getting us here at the Maryland men's basketball preview. So let's go ahead and give a round of applause for finally getting it done. Thank you very much for your patience with us. Moving this week, doing a lot of stuff this week. So definitely we got it. And now we are ready to talk Terps. With you as the start of the Terp season is here. Best of 2024. Definitely check that out for you on New Year's Eve. So that'll be our last video of 2024, the best of the Terps. So we will go ahead and do that. Genesis Donor Services /Facebook. If you live in the Shenandoah Valley area, definitely check that out. Notary Services with Care. See Charles Harris at Legal Shield. Value of a Legal Shield is awesome. I love the Legal Shield product. I love actually helping people with their legal needs, with all the issues and financial issues and people having a lot of businesses, getting a Legal Shield package. I've seen it. It saved people so much money. So I love talking about that. Definitely check us out. Give us a call there on there. Definitely go to our LinkedIn page, Harris Legal Shield. Definitely check that out as well. RaverySports@gmail.com, RaverySports.company.site, Ravens hats. This one isn't on there, but there's plenty of them there. Rocking the Terps, obviously, in honor of our stream today. So thank you for joining us here today. Let's get to the business of the Maryland basketball preview here. Let's do this real quick here. So definitely the Terps last season, issues. Didn't make the dance last year. NCAA tournament didn't happen. So this year they're going to go ahead and get squared away with that and go ahead and see if they can go ahead and get into the tournament again. So we're going to go ahead and preview the Terps here for the 2024-2025 season here as well. That will be the third year of Coach Mark Turgeon as the head coach of Maryland. Not Mark Turgeon, Kevin Willard replacing Mark Turgeon, who was kind of ran out by the fans, etc. Tough job Mark Turgeon had replacing Gary Williams as the head coach. Now Kevin Willard is in his third season. Now we got the graphic up there as the head coach. Things now have changed in college basketball. So I'm going to skip to Ricky Harris, Director of Player Personnel, Brandon Petty, Director of Player Development. David Cox is here. Kevin Norris and Greg Manning are also there on staff as assistant coaches. What you're seeing now, and I brought that up, now with the NIL money and everything that's going on, the most notable in recent memory, the most famous one at least, was Woj. Adrian Wilskowski leaving the ESPN to be a general manager at St. Bonaventure. You're seeing these type of roles now for NIL money, transfer portal coming in and out, etc. It's a new world in college basketball to go ahead and get that squared away. The transfer portal, what's going out the door? Noah Batchelor is no longer with the Terps, went out to Buffalo. Caleb St. Roger didn't play a lot last year, went to Old Dominion. Jonathan Lamonte went to the Aggies of North Carolina A&T. Jamie Kaiser is a little bit of a surprise. Really came in with a lot of hype as a freshman. Didn't really play a lot last year. Went to Butler. And Manatore Actually, the big guy went to JUCO route, Franklin Phillips College, as a JUCO. Sure, he'll be back in D1 at some point. Now, what came in, Rodney Rice, 6'4", from Virginia Tech. Jacob Gillespie, he's going to play a big role, these next two from Belmont as well. Segun Mitchell, 6'4", from South Florida. And I'm hopefully I'm getting his name. Tafra Garpe is going to play from Georgia Tech. These guys, big roles for these guys this year. Big roles. We will see about these guys getting squared away. You talked about the big role. Who's going to start? So no longer is this Jahmir Young team. So long in the last few years, the Terps so dependent on Jahmir Young scoring for them. Now he's no longer in the league, no longer in a Terps uniform. Now as a pro. Now we got Jacob Gillespie. He's going to start at the point guard. Seton Miguel at the shooting guard. What are you going to see with these two guys? Absolutely better shooting, I think, as overall as a team. That's what they were going for. What was wrong with the Terps last year? Good defensively, they can't shoot. Can't shoot. Outside of Jahmir Young, that was basically all they had. Offensively, they kind of went as he went. They're trying to get more balance this year, of course, and they're going to go ahead and have it spread out. I think their guards, I don't think there was a replacing of a Jahmir Young that you could do straight up, obviously, but this is decent enough. I think this is actually a good start. More balanced shooting the ball, at least, they're going to have. Deshaun Harris-Smith, one of the problems last year. Excellent athlete, definitely came in with a lot. Actually started at point guard last year. He's going to be, looks like, starting at the 4, at the 3, at the start. Worked on his shots every day with Coach Kevin Willard. Willard is going to be on him about his shooting, working hard at it. So definitely a big-time freshman, top 50 freshman last year. Kind of got off to a little bit of a slow start. He's going to start as shooting guard. Jordan Geronimo, definitely a meat and potatoes player, a pretty good meat and potatoes player. Kind of reminds me of a Keith Booth. Kind of like he's going to play power forward, but he's kind of got like a small forward type bodyguard type body as well. Not going to score a ton of points, but definitely fits in. Playing him at 4 is going to have the 5, Julian Reese, eat a whole lot, right? So we know how good his sister is, Angel Reese. Julian Reese, I think, is going to be outstanding this year. He's going to be, I think, the focal point of the offense. I think, is that a great thing? I don't know, but definitely that's the route he's going to be. He's definitely the captain, the leader on this team, the guy who's been there the longest as well. The bench, that graphic isn't as good as I would like because I think it was smaller, but Jahari Long, Ben Murphy, Rodney Rice, Jay Young, Makai Palmer, Lucas Sadell, Derek Queen, Tarek Grappe, get it right, and Brendan Pierce. All right. The big one is Derek Queen, the freshman. Definitely a lot of top 50 freshmen here now playing for the Terps. Definitely a lot of expectation. Doesn't seem to me, and looking at everything, he's going to start right away. I think they're going to be a little more tempered with him as far as starting immediately. But that's the most exciting one, I think. Rodney Rice should play a lot as well. He should play a lot. Definitely the guard play. Definitely, again, betting better shooters. Definitely, what was the Achilles heel last year? Really couldn't shoot at all. A lot in his games. Had to get good defensive games to win games. Had to have Jahmir Young carry him offensively. Rodney Rice definitely went in the transfer portal and brought in a group of better shooters. Definitely has some size too. Terry Queen, Brandon Pierce is back. Kind of sneaky. I think he might get a bigger role than what people are expecting. 5 biggest questions that the Terps are going to have this year. Can the Terps shoot a better percentage from the three-point line? They're going to do that. I don't think they can be, if anything, how much bad could they be? I mean, they were just flat out awful shooting. I mean, teams knew it. Like when they faced a team that could really hit from the outside, they didn't have any success. So that was an issue definitely for them. Which Terps definitely with Miguel. I think Harris Smith, I think, is going to be better. DHS is going to be better this year. I definitely think they're going to shoot better. I don't know if it's going to score a lot more points necessarily, but they're definitely going to shoot better as a team overall. Who's the best player without on offense without Jameer Young? I think it's Julian Reese. I think Julian Reese is definitely going to be their offense. I think is going to run through him a lot. I think he's got the versatility. He probably last year, you saw it at times. He was probably, I would say, the closest one to the number two as far as that goes last year. But I think he kind of played well offensively when Jameer Young played well. I think that was the problem that they had. They didn't play. They had good nights when Jameer Young had good nights. Can they have good nights without Jameer Young? Now, let's see. Now, sometimes a guy leaves, guy steps into leadership, especially you see this in a lot of college level. These kids are all still developing as players. So we will see at that. How will DHS fans develop in a second year as a sophomore? Much better. I believe with the talent that he has, he definitely can be their best offensive player. I don't think they're going to run through him right away. They're not going to put that pressure on him right away, kind of like last year. But look, Kevin Willard had him starting at the beginning of last year from the start. That tells you what they think of him. He kind of played his way out with the offense because again, the offense went there, the shooting went there. But Harris, I think Harris Smith has definitely a lot of options as well. Definitely great athleticism. If he can get that percentage up from a jump, or at least develop like a mid-range, consistent, definitely you're going to see that with him. Will the expanded Big Ten make winning more difficult? It certainly made this video more difficult going over 18 teams. Yes, I think for the Terps, yes. I think there isn't a lot of separation here. I mean, I really, one of the challenges I had even looking at the teams, man, there's not a lot of between, like, you really need to get to like 13, 14. Okay, when you say, all right, those teams probably are when you get to the bottom, but it's not a lot of separation there. So I think it's definitely going to be more difficult adding USC, Oregon. They're not bad. So I think everybody has a harder time as well. Will the Terps be dancing in March? No, I don't think so. I think if they are, it'll be as a 12 seed, 11 seed, etc. I don't think, and I think part of it is, I think if they were in a different conference, possibly in the Big Ten, I think they're probably just in the first, pretty close to the first out category. I don't know if they get to the madness as well. I don't think it's impossible by any stretch, but I would, if I was going to bet your house on it or bet your money on it, I'd probably say more no than yes. But let's see how they get there. So they get there. If they can get there, it's Manhattan in the first game. That's on the Big Ten Plus. So definitely try the Fox Sports app for all this stuff. Like, definitely check it out. Manhattan, November. Not all the games, but these are notable ones. Marquette on 18th. There, Marquette, a nationally ranked team in the Big East at 8 o'clock. That's on FS1. Villanova, not quite a blue blood, but definitely won a national championship in more recent years. They're playing that on ESPN, November 24th, 1 o'clock. Purdue is really good. Even without Zach Edey, I think a lot of people think that this is the best team even this year in the Big Ten. 12 o'clock on Big Ten Network. Early game against the Purdue and Lafayette. Getting them one of the national blue bloods now in the Big Ten. So you talk about the Big Ten as far as football. They're getting USC big time, and now you're getting UCLA in basketball. UCLA, I think, is going to be pretty good. Very young. Terps beat a very young UCLA team last year. A lot of those guys are now veterans now, so it'll be interesting to see that as well. Illinois, I think they're always right there. I think Illinois and Iowa are kind of always in the same place. They're good, but they're always in that top, but they're good, but I think it'll be a good challenge for a team. You kind of see where you are with a team like that. Indiana's really good this year. Indiana, I think they're playing in the Hoosier Hysteria, 12 o'clock. That's basketball country in Indiana, in the middle of Indiana. So I think that'll be a great test for them. Indiana, I think, is fantastic. They're right I think they're right pretty much at the top of the Big Ten. Michigan State, interested to see where Michigan State falls. I kind of last year had them a little higher. They didn't really do that as well. We'll see where Michigan State falls. We know they're going to be well coached with Tom Izzo. And the last one is 3 o'clock Northwestern on Peacock, which has a lot of college basketball. So definitely check that out. The Big Ten, which is now 18, which is eventually going to be 20. Let's go ahead and look at it. Let's see where the Terps fall here. I have Indiana 1. I have, Purdue 1. Pretty much them and Indiana are really right at the top, really close. I have them really there. Brendan Smith, I think a lot of people feel, I think at the end of last year, you saw it even without Zach Edey, he's going to be one of the better players in the Big Ten. Some people will have him as the Big Ten Player of the Year at the start. Interesting to see. I think that might be stepping them up a month. I don't think we really know yet in a lot of ways. I think this is a very close league, but I think Brendan Smith is good. I think it's kind of like we talked about with Julian Reese. Interesting to see how he does with Matt Painter as the head coach, like 18th year from Matt Painter as the head coach, how he does without Zach Edey. That's going to be fascinating. He was really good in the tournament last year. That's no question about it. Indiana, number 2. Former NBA coach Mike Whitson is going to be there for them as well. They have one of the best transfers in the transfer portal. Omar Balayo, a senior. I think he's a graduate. I think he's been there a while. He's definitely one of the top players, definitely one of the preseason Big Ten players. Mackenzie Mabako is back. Trey Galloway is good size and can shoot. I think probably I got no problem if you say Indiana is the best team. I think it's pretty clear with those two. I'd be surprised if anybody was higher than that. So I think Purdue and Indiana, the state of Indiana is going to be fighting for the Big Ten title as well. UCLA, shout out to the late great Bill Walton, rest in peace for that, and his UCLA Bruins, all their great Bruins, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, etc. for the Bruins. Kind of rebuilding last year, I think, but they were actually able to retain a lot of those young players, Mick Cronin. So last year, Sebastian Mack, young player, Dylan Andrews. They got another really good freshman, Trent Perry. So still rather young. That doesn't do as well in college basketball. But I think the fact that they played so well together last year, they kind of got some experience. Definitely, I like them as good as any team in the Big Ten. I have them at 3 there as well. Illinois, I think they're probably kind of what they always have been. Illinois, you could probably book them probably right around the top 5. They're a really good team. They're about all they want, up-tempo, pressure, defense. Ty Rodgers is back. I think they are Ty Rodgers is back. I think they had a good tandem last year. He was one of those two last year. The freshman, Kaparkas Janonis, he's going to be an NBA prospect, top 5 pick. Will Riley, definitely both projected first-round picks. Again, freshmen, I'm cooling a bit. I'm not getting suckered in. But freshmen used to make huge impacts right away. These two guys, I think, are exceptions. I mean, he's international component, but it's a little different. How much are you going to get immediately? That's why I don't have them higher, I think, at 4. Michigan State, so much respect for Michigan State, so much respect for Tom Izzo entering his 30th season on the job. They definitely need some of their guys, I'm sure. Jaden Atkins is there now as well. So a lot of those guys left last year for them. He's going to be the guy that step up. He's been there now 4 years, kind of like similar situation like Julian Reese kind of step up, but want to see more from Xavier Booker, Colin Carr, Jeremy Fears, good two-way player at shooting guard. So definitely we want to see that there as well. Ohio State, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Ohio State, they're about 6. Man, if they have upgrade last year, I don't think I've ever seen a team do so well when a coach got fired. They fired Chris Holman. Jake Diebler comes in. Now he has his first full season. and they are totally different. I mean, they must have really didn't like their coach, man. That was something else. Bruce Thornton is the all-10 is going to be. I think this might be. I think the best player in all the Big Ten. Bruce Thornton, so consistent, 15 plus points a game last year with all the steals as well. They're going to have Michi Johnson there as well for them. So this is a really good Ohio State team. Not a lot of depth though. That's I don't think above the teams that I have them above, but I think it's 6 is about right. They'll definitely be in the tournament, I think. Michigan Wolverines. So out with the legendary DeJuan Howard at coach. They let him go at the end of the year, having a lot of struggles. They got probably the most desirable young coach in the country, Dustin May, to go ahead and take over in Ann Arbor for them. His first season, definitely at what he did with Florida Atlantic, getting into the Final Four a couple of years ago. He signs a 3-year, $3.75 million. Good for him. He brings Vasilif Golden with him from Florida Atlantic. So definitely that's going to help. Bringing guys in, one of the best players from there, Trey Donaldson and Ronnie Gale in the transfer portal as well. They got that. So I think they're about that. They're about right there as far as 7. The Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Man, oh man, there's a lot of excitement. I can't think of much of excitement as round 2 a Rutgers Scarlet Knights team in the Big Ten. This is, again, like these teams are so close. I say this, young players make you a little nervous. I don't know. Sometimes, like, they're not as good always right off the bat. But Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey are going to play well for them right away. You saw it already. I did watch with them in the preseason games or whatever. These guys are already doing great for them. So I don't know much higher, but these guys are definitely NBA prospects, definitely guys that are going to carry them. There's a lot of excitement there. These guys are going to carry them, these 2 young guys. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. Definitely a lot of excitement there for the Scarlet Knights. USC is better than I thought. I think their starting 5 is as good, I think, as anybody in the Big Ten. Desmond Claude, Abago, Trent Williams, St. Thomas, Josh Cohen. I think this is pretty good. They have a new coach, Eric Musselman, their old coach, Andy Enfield, went to USC. Eric Musselman, I actually remember watching him years ago in the CBA, showing my age. They used to show CBA games when I got home from school, like a long time ago. So I'm watching basketball anytime. And I think Eric Musselman, defensive coach, defensive style, keep your eye on USC. I think they're not bad. I think this is not a program with a history of success. Last year, they had Bronny James that had more attention than they've been getting. And so, but I do think they have had a history of success. Musselman, I think is a good hire. Not a real young coach, kind of similar to Woodson, a guy who's been there and done that. Not going to show him anything that he hasn't seen. They're going to be good on defense. I know that. They're going to work hard. They're going to hustle hard on defense. Terps are at 10. I think this is about right. I think this is also, too, about the line where the borderline, kind of like what I said, like the borderline tournament teams. I think that's essentially what they are, borderline tournament, not in the tournament maybe. Wisconsin, I think, is at 11. They kind of are what they kind of always have been, physical, defensive team, tough. They're going to score a lot of plays, discipline. Matt Kesman is going to be their main guy. He's a jump shooter. They kind of always have a guy like that. Matt Kroll is there shooting. They lost a lot of players, but they seem to kind of play similar. I think this is his 9th season there. Great guard. So this is about right. I don't think they have enough thunder this year. I don't think that's going to work as well. Not an exciting team to watch, too, frankly. like Iowa. Iowa is there as well. I do like this guy on Iowa. Peyton, watching Peyton Stanford in Iowa is fantastic. If you watch him and play, he scores a lot of points. I think he could be the lead. I think if he's not the player of the year in the Big Ten, he's definitely going to be one of the best players in the Big Ten as far as shooting. You watch the videos with him, and they keep saying quick release, quick release, quick release. He's got a uber quick release. It's very Reggie Miller-like. He doesn't have anything around him, so he's going to score all the points. But I think that's fascinating what they have going. But again, they're kind of like always are. There are Fran McCaffrey, like his 15th season. Interesting to see what happens there. The Ducks, Oregon. I kind of didn't know where to put Oregon. I kind of moved them around a little bit. This is about, I think, where they are. Jackson Stallhon, I think, reminds me a lot of Rex Chapman. I think he really is that type of player. Definitely a guy, shoots from anywhere, has great range, great handles, fun to watch, area athleticism. Just needs to put it all together. A little more disciplined defensively, I think, with him is work. But I definitely think that is definitely something that they definitely need to work on. At the bottom, pulling it up the rear. Let's go through all of them here real quick at the rear. Nebraska, Northwestern, Washington, Minnesota, Penn State. Penn State, there's nothing. It's not a basketball school. It's a football school. Mike Rhodes is in his second season there. Nebraska, they have the mayor, Fred Hoiberg. There's not much there either. I don't think any of these teams make the tournament, so I'm not going to go too on those teams. But I think like Washington, I think might be more interesting to watch. I mean, we will see. I think they actually have, I think, a ray of hope. But I don't think any of these teams actually make the tournament. It'll be difficult for any of them to actually get in. There you go. All right. How did the Terps fare? Okay, in the tournament, how did the Terps fare? Terps have, I think, issues, but we'll see. It's so hard sometimes to predict year to year in college basketball, but I definitely think the infrastructure for a good program is in Maryland, which I think is a good thing. I don't know if they have to be able to get those high-level players consistently. I think they're starting to happen. They got DHS last year, didn't play as well as they hoped, but they were able to get him to stay. That's good. And they also got Derek Queen this year, and they were able to build him in. They got it now. You're able to starting to get them. Now can you develop them into really good players? Can you be competitive? There's no reason on the basketball side that you can't be at the top of the Big Ten consistently. There's no reason to be this far behind Purdue and all that consecutively. The basketball is definitely plentiful in the Baltimore area, the D.C. area, especially deep Northern Virginia. So definitely you have a shot here. I don't think tournament is in the cards for them this year, but we'll see. I definitely think they absolutely have a shot at it. All right. That was fun. It's done. Thank you very much for joining us for the Ravery Sports Podcast. You have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the Terps season Monday against the Manhattan Jaspers in this one as well. So definitely check that out. You have a great rest of your day.